Hello Virgo, my name is Keith Haswell and I'm a professional astrologer with 40 years experience in the business and over 30,000 clients worldwide. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this reading of your horoscope for 2014 Virgo from a spiritual perspective. Now if your sun sign is Virgo and you're watching this because your sun sign is Virgo, if you know your ascendant or your rising sign, then it's much more preferable for you to watch the one that's applicable to your rising sign, because this is a spiritual reading and that one will be much more applicable, Virgo. But if you don't know your ascendant, but you do know your time of birth accurately within a half an hour, then submit your birth details through my website and I'll be happy to do your chart and send it to you, and then you'll know what your ascendant is. Now what I'll be focusing on in this reading for you is to look at your horoscope from the point of view of the movements of planets in 2014, so that I can help you to understand what's going on in your life spiritually, but also from the mundane events and conditions in your life as well, with a view to helping you to understand more about yourself. To know yourself is a very powerful force and a very powerful need. And so the science of astrology can help you to understand more about yourself. And I'll be looking at the location of the signs on each of the 12 houses of your horoscope. You've got your rising sign, which is the sign on the eastern horizon at the time of your first breath. And that sign is individual to you and you alone, and to others who have the same rising sign as you. If we don't know your rising sign, then we use the sun as the cusp of the first house, and it's equally as accurate. But it's preferable if you can have your ascendant and be working on looking at the video that is applicable for your rising sign or your ascendant. Now what I'm going to be doing for you is telling you the various impacts of the signs on the cusps of your houses. Astrology is the most scientific presentation of hidden truth in the world today, because it deals with you and your life and the events and conditions in your life. Now it's important to understand that you are creating all of the events of your life. There's no such thing as karma that's imposed upon you, and therefore you must break a leg because you forced someone in a last life to break their leg or something like that. Or all of these things that are imposed upon you because you've been a bad person in your past life. You are experiencing all of these events and conditions because of your raw materials. These are your attitudes and your beliefs, your thoughts and your feelings, and the decisions and choices that those attitudes and beliefs and thoughts and feelings engender from within yourself. Now, each of us are living our lives through the events and conditions of our life and experiencing our consciousness through those events and conditions in our life. And these events and conditions in our life all belong somewhere in one of the 12 segments of your horoscope called houses. So as having your rising sign on the cusp of your first house, there'll be the next sign following on from that is going to be in the cusp of the second house, and then the next sign will be on the cusp of the third house, and so forth all the way through the 12 segments of your horoscope called houses. And each of the events of your life fit into one of these 12 houses. But more importantly than that, you are experimenting and experiencing and expressing your consciousness through these houses, and in that process you are gaining experience and you are gaining knowledge, and you are turning that knowledge into wisdom. Now the most important thing about my reading that I'm going to be doing for you here is that I'm going to be telling you what are the needs that you are fulfilling through these houses of your horoscope, because each of the 12 houses you are fulfilling certain needs in life through the events and conditions of that house. The first house, for example, is your need to have impact. You need to commence and start projects and ideas so that you can have impact in the world and feel a sense of power. The second house is the house to do with your sense of security and fulfilling your security needs, not just your financial security, but also your physical health security and your emotional security, your mental security, and your spiritual security in life. So through that house you're fulfilling your security needs. Through the third house you are fulfilling your needs to communicate. And that is the house where you are dealing with those who are close to you, like relatives and neighbours. The fourth house is where you are fulfilling your belonging needs, to belong to a home environment and a family unit, and to those who cohabitate with you in the home, sharing that family sense of belonging there. So you are fulfilling your belonging needs. The fifth house is where you are fulfilling your need to love. We all need to love, and we all need to have fun. And so entertainments and amusements fit into there. Romance and love fits into there. And sexual activities, sporting activities, restaurants and places of amusement, and children. The greatest capacity for us to express our love is through our offspring. The sixth house is the house where we are fulfilling our service needs. We all need to be having meaningful work. So work belongs in that arena of the sixth house. Meaningful work is very important for you regarding health. So we need to be able to be of useful service in the community through meaningful employment, and that fits into that category of maintaining good health through right diet and exercise. The seventh house is the house fulfilling our needs to have a mate, to have somebody in our life who is an intimate, someone that we can get to know, and to be known in return. To be known is very, very important, and to know someone is a very important need that needs to be fulfilled in life. The eighth house fulfills our need for change. We're all the time reflecting and thinking upon aspects of our nature that we know that we should transcend. And so fulfilling that need for change. The ninth house is the house where we fulfill our need for expansion. And we do that through adult education, through study, research and investigation, through philosophy, religious pursuits, and also travel. The 10th house is where we are fulfilling our esteeming needs. We all have a need to be well thought of in the community and to aspire to the heights of success in whatever our chosen field is, and that brings in the career and business. The 11th house is where we are fulfilling our need for friendship and group activities. We all have the need to have friendships and to have group activities in our life. We are ultimately all working towards group consciousness. And so group activities and club activities all fit into that category. The 12th house is where we are fulfilling our needs for solitude. We all need to have that time, quiet time to ourselves, where we can reflect and think upon ourselves and aspire towards being more of who we really are and aspire towards the divine. And many times we do this the wrong way. We do it through crisis and internment in hospitals and institutions. And we force ourselves to have that solitude. And we force ourselves to reflect upon moral and principles and values and so forth, and to develop our character and to aspire towards the divine. Make no mistake about it, you are in a spiritual classroom. All of us are in a spiritual classroom. Whether you believe in God and believe in Goddess is immaterial. The fact of the matter is that they have created everything that's in our lives. They have created everything that's in the universe. And without them, you wouldn't be here in life. Science poo-poos higher beings, and science poo-poos a designer in the universe, but the evidence of design in the universe is just so overwhelming that you must let it in that there is that God and Goddess, that ultimate being who's there to help us and to guide us. And so this is the objective and the purpose of my work, is to help you to be a believer in God and Goddess. A believer in the fact that they have set it up in a way that allows you and gives you the power to create your own reality. You are creating all of the events of your life. No one is doing it to you. So if you've got pain in your life, you've got to look at your raw materials. You've got to look at your attitudes and your beliefs and your thoughts and your feelings. It's easy to think that no one knows my thoughts and no one knows my feelings, but everything is recorded by yourself, by the higher aspects of yourself, your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind. And so rather than creating all of the events of your life through your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind, you're better off to do it consciously. And so this is what the objective of my intensives are all about, is to help you to understand the laws that we live within in this space-time rule set that we call Earth, this spiritual classroom that we call Earth. And we've all made mistakes. We need to draw upon courage. Courage is the willingness to act, even though you don't have all the answers, and even though some of the answers that you do have are wrong. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. We all do it. And so the idea is to rise above those mistakes from here on, and to start changing those attitudes and beliefs and those thoughts and those feelings that are there in your subconscious mind, thoughts that you don't deserve love, thoughts and feelings and attitudes and beliefs that you're no good, that life is a financial struggle for you, that you'll never amount to anything, that relationships don't work out for you, that you're not lovable, and self-pity and fear and self-sabotage and anxiety and doubt and insecurity. Look, we've all got these things inside of ourselves. And this is what we're in this level of consciousness to do, is to transcend all of those negative aspects of ourselves. And so you sit back and relax now and enjoy the journey here, and I'll take you through a journey for 2014 and tell you what sort of impacts that you're going to be experiencing and which way that you are going to be developing those principles and values within yourself in order to fulfill your needs. What I want to do for you now, Virgo, is to have a look at some of your cycles and see what's coming up for you in 2014. And also looking at the way that you fulfill your needs in life through the various houses of your horoscope. You're a very loving person, Virgo. You're on the second ray of love wisdom, and you love people, and you love to be of service. Now, the way that you come about to have impact in your life is mainly through your job. You like to work, you like to be of service to people, and you could fit into a clerical job or an administrative job or something that's practical and down to earth, dealing with things of the earth, plants and shrubs and things like that. But you do need to be of service to people in order to feel as if you're having impact in the world. You're very meticulous when it comes to detail, Virgo, in drawing up your plans for your self-initiated efforts and bringing them down into manifestation as events and conditions in your life. You're very meticulous and careful with regard to the structure of that plan and the detail of the plan. So you think things out quite well, and you're one for detail. Now, as far as the needs for security in life, Virgo, you're all the time trying to find balance inside of yourself as far as your finances are concerned. You're trying to balance the budget, you're trying to balance what you should spend and what you should hold back, and you're trying to balance things in so many ways in regard to other forms of security too. Your security needs as far as your physical health is concerned, you're always trying to find a balance between the right diet and everything, and exercise, and you're always trying to find a balance within yourself in terms of your emotional stability and also your mental stability and your spiritual ambitions and security in life. Quite often you'll fulfill those needs for security in life through your relationships, and that can be a relationship of marriage or a relationship of friendship or whatever, but through your relationships and forming intimacy and closeness with somebody who you can get to know and that they can get to know you is also another way whereby you find security in life. You also find security through listening to music, and you find that sense of balance within yourself through listening to music as well, Virgo. Now, as far as fulfilling your communication needs in life, Virgo, you're very intense and you communicate with people very intimately and closely, and you don't engage in idle chatter. You keep a lot of things to yourself. You're very deep and introspective mentally. You spend a lot of time thinking and reflecting upon aspects of your nature that you're working on to develop and control and get on top of. So there's a lot of depth there within your thinking processes, and you're all the time wanting to bring about change within yourself in the ways that you communicate with people. Now, as far as your needs for communication, in 2014 you've got a major planetary placement in your third house of your horoscope, which is the house of communication, Virgo. You've got Saturn sitting there in your third house for the whole of 2014. So there's going to be a sense of frustration in life for you with regard to communication. You're not going to be able to get your point across as well as what you would like to. You'll even slip into states of depression, perhaps. There can be the death of a relative, which can have impact upon you, or a lingering illness involving a relative, Virgo, that can have an impact upon you and your capacity to communicate. So there's a few frustrations in regard to transportation and motor vehicles and things like that. Cars can break down, and delays with regard to getting from A to B and transportation needs and so forth. So there's a whole lot of things that are happening there with Saturn in that third house for the whole of the year. What Saturn is calling upon you to do, Virgo, is to be very practical with regard to all plans that you make for travel and transportation matters, and to be very particular in your communications as well. Remember that communications are a utilization of energy and emotional and mental energy, and Saturn is trying to say to you, no criticism, no gossip, no idle chatter, keep things practical and down to earth, and plan things out as far as your transportation needs and things like that are concerned, and you'll get by this year with not too much difficulty. So to speak with deliberation is probably the key word there for you, Virgo, during 2014 with Saturn in your third house. Now, as far as fulfilling your belonging needs, which come through the 4th house of your horoscope, Virgo, you've got Sagittarius on the cusp of your 4th house. So parents were perhaps born overseas, or one of them lives distantly from you at some time. You may live overseas at some time in your life. You fulfill your belonging needs through religious pursuits together as a family, and through philosophical pursuits, sporting pursuits, and travel pursuits together as a family, as those who share the home environment with you. And you have a lot of deep books around the place, encyclopedias and so forth, that you like to curl up with a good book. And you like to have a nice view from home too, to feel as if you belong somehow to the larger world and to the spirit of nature. So that's how you fulfill your belonging needs in 2014. The 5th house, Virgo, is where you are fulfilling your needs to have fun and to express your love. And with Capricorn on the cusp of your 5th house, there's difficulties for you in the expression of your love. You weren't loved enough in the family at home when you were a child. You feel as if you didn't get enough love, you didn't get enough affection and things like that. And there's some unhappiness there in regard to your childhood, in terms of your examples that were shown by parents in the expression of affection and things like that. So you can have problems with regard to intimacy and closeness and sexual expression. There can be some sense of frustration for you with regard to children. If you're a woman, you can bring children into the world later in life or with great difficulty. There can be delays with the birth. There can be obstructions with regard to the birth and the bringing of children into the world. And there can be unhappiness through the loss of a child, with Saturn on the cusp of the 5th house. So you might say that all in all, with regard to having fun and expressing your love, there's a little bit of a restriction and a limitation upon you, Virgo, in that particular arena of your life. Now the 6th house, Virgo, is where we are fulfilling our service needs. And you've got Aquarius on the cusp of your 6th house. So that means that you fulfill your service needs through innovation and through group activities, belonging to a group, club activities, and service activities to those in the social arena. So you can work in social welfare or something like that, or you can work with computers, electronics, aviation industry, transportation industry, communications industry, and you are fulfilling your needs for service through that particular area of your life, through the job. And also you go in for unusual diet and exercise rituals and routines, and you also have a sense of fulfilling service to self in keeping yourself in good health through these innovative ideas and futuristic ideas. Perhaps you have a massage every now and again, and you do meditation and things like that as well to keep yourself in a sense of balance there. Now on the cusp of your 7th house, Virgo, you've got the sign Pisces, and so your spouse or partner in life can be very sensitive, very spiritual type of a person, but also can be very destructive type of a person, very self-destructive through drugs or alcohol. So you can experience quite a lot of problems in terms of getting close to somebody and getting to know them and for them to know you, because they can sometimes be a mystery package and difficult to get to know. You get to know them through their sorrows and their fears and their anxieties and their doubts and their insecurities in life. So they're perhaps always putting their problems upon you, Virgo. and that's how you get to know somebody, and you allow them to get to know you through this side of you. But there's also the potential there for spiritual service together and development of the spiritual side of your nature and your partner's nature through that sort of activity. The 8th house, Virgo, is where you are fulfilling your needs for change. And you've got Aries on the cusp of your 8th house. So you bring about change within yourself, unfortunately, through stress and tension. You have a lot of inner complex within yourself that you don't openly discuss with other people. Can be to do with your sexuality and things like that. And there's a sense of crisis there within yourself quite often. Suddenly you're thrown into states of stress and tension and anxiety and so forth within yourself that you're not able to discuss with other people. And you've got something very interesting going on in the whole of 2014. Virgo, you've got Uranus there in your 8th house, and it's been there for the last couple of years, and it'll be there for the next couple of years. So during this time of this slow transit of Uranus through your 8th house, there's a redefinition of your sexuality and a redefinition of death and what death means to you, and you want to research and investigate more about the potential for life after death and so forth. So during this time, Virgo, you're going to experience some crises within yourself and some sudden impacts upon you to do with your sexuality, and there'll be some crisis through the sudden death of some people around you. Not necessarily someone close, but someone that you know will pass away quite suddenly. And you'll have crises within yourself with this internal dialogue going on inside of yourself that you're having problems dealing with. Now, the 9th house is the house whereby we are fulfilling our needs for expansion, Virgo. And you have Taurus on the cusp of your 9th house. So you love to go and visit nature. And that's how you bring about this sense of expansion, by communing with nature, by going out there into the mountains and the trees and among the flowers and the plants and the shrubs and so forth in the cities. You have this need for expansion within yourself through communing with nature, and also through travel, and also through finding balance and harmony within yourself to do with money matters and security matters. The 10th house is where we are fulfilling our esteeming needs, Virgo. And these esteeming needs are needs that we have to fulfill to have a sense of respect and high esteem in the community. And we do this generally through our career and business. And with Gemini on the cusp there of your 10th house, Virgo, you have many changes in the career, many changes in your job, many changes in business, a lot of fluctuating circumstances to do with career and business. You could even have 2 businesses going at the one time, or 2 jobs going at the one time. There's perhaps a lot of involvements in career or business with relatives or with neighbours in some way. It could involve communications or driving, but you fulfill your esteeming needs through this sense of communication. So your career or your business is one where you have to communicate a lot, perhaps in the sales field or something like that, or as an agent or a go-between, or something like that. The 11th house, Virgo, is where we are fulfilling our needs to belong to a group and to experience group consciousness in whatever way that we can. And you've got the sign Cancer on the cusp of your 11th house. So you fulfill your sense of belonging to a group through family ties and family contacts and domestic matters and family matters. And so there's a lot of involvements with children and other people's children, a lot of other people's children around your home, and a lot of involvements through your own children, perhaps to do with group activities and sporting activities of them. And so there's a lot of involvements there to do with people and around the home, the family, and the domestic side of life. And you've got a beautiful thing happening in the whole of 2014, Virgo. You have got Jupiter, the massively beneficial influence, sitting there in your 11th house for the whole of 2014. So that means that you've got great opportunities for travel with friends or with other people's children, and you've got a great opportunity for the formation of new friendships. You could travel with a friend, or a friend could visit from a long distance away. There's a lot of happiness for you in life in 2014, Virgo, to do with group interests and friendships and attachments and a sense of feeling as if you belong to a team in some way. And the 12th house, Virgo, is where we are fulfilling our needs for solitude. And you have Leo on the cusp of your 12th house. So you are very, very conscious, very, very self-conscious about this need for solitude. And you try to get that solitude many times in a way whereby you are with other people on a social setting. And you'll be there with them, and you're not really there with them. You're introspecting and reflecting, and you're looking at things in their lives from a spiritual perspective and reflecting upon that side of your nature. So the spiritual side of your life is quite often entangled within the social side of your life. And it's hard for you sometimes to get that sense of solitude completely. So what you have to do sometimes, Virgo, is just have time out from the activities of your social life and the demands of your social life, and just have that time out to be by yourself and to get there with your higher self. Now, looking at some of the cycles in your horoscope, Virgo, your 3rd house of communications is impacted by Mars, and Mars is in a retrograde or apparent backward motion from the 2nd of March to the 20th of May. So that means that you are going to be experiencing a few frustrations during that particular time with regard to communications and dealings with relatives and matters relating to motor vehicles, and your sense of communication is going to be thrown out of whack a little bit during that time. Your sense of belonging in the family and domestic arena is going to be impacted because Jupiter is the ruler of your 4th house. And Jupiter is retrograde or in an apparent backward motion from the beginning of the year of 2014 right the way through to the 7th of March. So this is something that you would experience and have a sense of insecurity with regard to domestic and family matters during that period, Virgo. And then it kicks in again, that retrograde motion, on the 9th of December. And that goes right the way through then through Christmas and into the new year. So there's a couple of periods there where domestic and family matters and your sense of belonging in the family unit is not going to go as smoothly as what you would like them to. The 5th house, Virgo, is where you're experiencing your fun and your need to express your love. And Saturn is the ruler there of that particular house of your horoscope. And it is in a retrograde motion, or an apparent backward motion, from the 3rd of March to the 21st of July. And during that time, you're going to find that the social side of your life and your capacity to express love and your capacity to have fun is just not going to be as easily fulfilled. So there'll be a few frustrations there for you during that time. Now, Uranus is the ruler, Virgo, of your 6th house, where you are trying to fulfill your service needs and matters relating to the job and health and dietary matters and things like that. And it is in a prolonged retrograde motion from the 23rd of July all the way through to the 22nd of December. So for a prolonged period of time, you're going to find that matters relating to the job and health and dietary matters are just not going to go as smoothly as what you would like them to. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you during that time to fulfill your sense of service to the community. Well, now that you've been exposed to what I've told you about the events and conditions that you'll be experiencing in 2014, where do you go from here? Well, it's very, very important for you to understand that just because you don't have all the answers, it doesn't mean that other people don't. And so I've written 2 books. What Really Matters is a book about astrology, meditation and reincarnation. And I've taken all of that material out of that book and put it into 12 CDs. And I'm happy to send you those 12 CDs free of charge. So what you do from here on is subscribe to my website, subscribe to my videos through YouTube, so that every new video that I bring out will be sent to you. And I'll be doing 100 videos or so in 2014 for your benefit on all aspects of spiritual growth, to help you become more of the giant that you truly are. My other book is called Coming Home: An Eternal Journey, and that one goes into things a lot more deeply about the larger plan and quantum physics and the holographic nature of reality and all sorts of other stuff that we won't bother with here. So what I want to help you to do is to be more successful in your life, to be able to consciously create the events and conditions in your life. You have that power. Make no mistake about it. You have that power inside of yourself to create all of the events and conditions in your life by conscious choice instead of subconscious choice as you're doing now. So submit your birth details, even if you've watched videos of mine in the past. Submit your birth details so that I can send you your chart together with those 12 CDs out of my first book on astrology, meditation and reincarnation. And also I'll send you other stuff too, all the links to all of my videos and everything. So this is all free of charge to help you become more of who you really are. But you then have the option of taking horoscope number 2. Horoscope number 2, look, what I'm telling you here in this particular reading that you've just been watching is I'm only telling you a very small amount of the things to do with your ascendant and the signs on the cusp of each of your 12 houses and the movements of the planets through your houses in 2014. But there's so much more there that's in your individual horoscope that I can't touch on, because I don't have your personal horoscope. There won't be another person born with the same horoscope as you for another 25,000 years. So you've got the moon is in a certain house and a certain sign and forming certain aspects with other planets in your horoscope. And that means something to you. You've got Mercury, which is your communication skills and your mentality. And that's in somewhere in one of those 12 houses. And that's in aspect with other planets and so forth. And that has meaning. You've got Venus, which is your love nature, and that is sitting somewhere in one of the houses of your horoscope. And Mars is sitting in one of the houses of your horoscope. All of these things have meaning. They have aspects with each other, with other planets and so forth. So this all has meaning. Jupiter is a major beneficial influence in your life. Where have you got Jupiter sitting in your horoscope, which is the main area that you can find happiness and joy and wonder and expansion in your life? Saturn is sitting somewhere in your horoscope, so there's a lot of tests there involved with Saturn. And Uranus and Neptune, all these planets have impact, and they're all sitting in different houses of your horoscope, and they're all forming aspects and relationships with each other that make you unique and different from everybody else. So I want to interpret your horoscope for you. So in horoscope number 2, I'll do that for you. It's a 20-page printout on you and you alone, and all to do with your personal planets and your houses and signs and aspect and so forth. And then to have horoscope number 3 is my voice with beautiful relaxing backing music to tell you all about the intimate side of your life and where your tests lie and what's going on in the immediate past, so you can say, yes, he knows what he's talking about. And then I'll go into the immediate future, 5 years or so for you, and tell you what's coming up. This helps you to have a map to know where you're going in life. So I thank you for your attentiveness here and look forward to working further with you should you get involved in my intensives and should you have your horoscope done by me. Thank you.